Live streams. Okay, so my name's Chris Berry, certified outlaw attorney, certified financial planner at Castle Wealth Group. And we do these weekly wisdom webinars every week where we just answer questions that people submit ahead of time. Or if you have a question as we're going through this or something comes up, it's unclear, please put it in the Q&A. Because really this is just kind of open office hours. I just answer whatever questions come about. And we do have a couple of questions that were submitted regarding asset protection trust. So I'll get into those in just a second. But we always start with a positive focus, just something positive that happened. A lot of times it's family related or sometimes work related. Started coaching soccer again for my son and my daughters. And so we just had our first practice yesterday. And then this weekend we have 3 soccer games. So we're right full into soccer season, which is always fun. And then, yeah, okay. So let me share my screen and get into the questions. So, and again, if you do have a question, please put it in the Q&A. I have 2 questions that are submitted already. But if you have any more, put them into the Q&A. All right, so I hit that button, I hit that button. Boom. All right. So again, this is general information. If you want to see how this applies to your specific situation, then feel free to schedule some time on my calendar. But otherwise, let's go. All right. All right. So first question, and both questions were submitted. We're asking about special type of trust, castle trust. So with the castle trust, you mentioned the role of a key holder. Can you explain that more? And is that different than a trustee? So let's talk about a special type of trust. So what a castle trust is an asset protection trust. So what we can do is we can move assets into the trust, like real estate. We're talking to hypothetical clients today. They have some business interests, LLC, S Corp, money, investments can all go inside of the trust. And by us putting it inside of the trust, what we've done is 2 things. We've shielded it from lawsuits or creditors. So anything inside of the trust is protected. And then also what we've shielded it from is the nursing home costs or long-term care costs that can run $10,000 to $15,000 per month these days. Because we have a governmental program called Medicaid that can pay for the nursing home costs. But to qualify for Medicaid, there's an asset test and there's a 5-year look back period. So that's why people like to do the castle trust, is because they can shield themselves and their family from devastating costs of long-term care. That's kind of the main reason. Now, it is an asset protection trust, so it works a little bit different in terms of how you get money out of the trust. But really, there's kind of 3 roles. There's first what's called the trustee. That's the person who creates the trust. That's the person who's in charge of the trust. And typically, we did a couple signings today, and I think we did a couple of castle trusts, and all of them were married couples. So husband and wife, they're the trustee, they're in charge. And then we have the role of the key holder. And I'll explain that in a moment. And then we have beneficiaries upon death. So with the role of trustee, you're in control. You can decide to sell your property if you want to. You can go from Google stock to Apple stock. You're in complete control of how the assets are invested. You're in complete control of whether you sell a property. You're in complete control of where the money is housed. But let's say you want to take money out of the trust. Well, this is where it's a little bit different, but this is what builds on the asset protection, is that you would move the money out of the trust to what we call a key holder account, which is like a joint account with one of the kids or something like that. And then you could move the money back into your name. And then you can spend the money. So that one little extra step, that's what gives you the asset protection. And that's the escape hatch to get the money out of the trust. Now, key holder or the beneficiaries, they don't know what's inside of the trust. They can't take any money out. The key holder's job is just to be an escape hatch, get the money out of the trust. And then when you pass away, the money can go, whatever's left over can go to your beneficiaries. So The role of the key holder, really, it's just a one-time thing where you open up that key holder account, and now that's the escape hatch to get the money out of the trust. So this is how we can build in asset protection, but still give flexibility to pull the money out if we wanted to. Because none of my clients would move forward with an asset protection trust if they had to give up control, like they want to remain in control. So, so hopefully that was helpful on the Castle Trust. And this was a follow-up question from the same person. How do you fund a Castle Trust? What about IRAs, 401ks? What about foreign assets? Would a qualified income trust need to be used as well to qualify for Medicaid? So again, we set up the Castle Trust, set up the piggy bank. So we did a couple of these today. And then things that would go in right away, like real estate. So if you have a primary residence or multiple pieces of real estate, that would go in. Like I said, business interests, but money would go in. What cannot go in are IRAs and 401ks because they're qualified accounts. You haven't paid any tax on it. So this is a conversation we've been having with a lot of our clients and families, is that where do you think taxes are going? Do you think taxes are going up or down? Most people say up. In fact, they're scheduled to go up in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So if taxes go up, the value of these accounts go down because you haven't paid any tax, right? So what a lot of people are doing they're doing what I call a IRA exit strategy of, okay, if we know taxes are going up in the future, let me pull money from these accounts in an intelligent manner. And when I say intelligent manner, I'm not saying that the only intelligent thing to do is pull money. But what I'm saying is, looking at your tax brackets, make an educated decision of, should we continue to defer on the IRAs, 401ks, or should we look at pulling it out? And so that's developing that IRA exit strategy. Because again, most people think taxes are going up in the future. So I'd rather pay a 22% tax now than a 25% tax. So that's kind of the first step. And so when we're talking about tax planning, it's really a two-step process. One is how much, and that's really just looking at your tax brackets and how much money you have in pre-tax accounts, and then where to put it. So if we do pull money out, that's the IRA exit strategy. Where do we put it? Well, if we have a Castle Trust, then what we're doing is we're paying a tax and now investing it inside of the trust. So that's how we take care of the IRAs, 401ks. Most people are pulling money out of those accounts now just because we're $31 trillion in debt. Even if they don't have a Castle Trust, it just makes sense to look at from a tax planning standpoint of planning for your retirement, plus what you leave as a legacy, especially now that we have the Secure Act passed in 2020 that said your beneficiaries are going to have to pay more tax potentially on those pre-tax accounts. Those are the term I like to use. These types of accounts are tax infested. Like you have a debt on these accounts. Like you might look at $1 million IRA, but you don't actually have $1 million. You still have to pay out the IRS. And right now it might be 22%, but in the future it could be 28% that you'd have to pay out. So A, let's get out of those IRAs, 401ks, and then B, we can decide what we want to do with it. And if we have a Castle Trust, typically we recommend investing in the trust. So that's that. What about foreign assets? Foreign assets are going to be held separately. They're not going to be in the Castle Trust. This is only going to apply to stuff in the US. If you have foreign assets, you need to plan for those accordingly. So yeah, so foreign assets not part of the calculation for Medicaid. Foreign assets are would not be included in kind of this type of planning. You would actually have to have two sets of plans, one plan for the US and one plan for whatever wherever that foreign asset is. So that's a no. And then what about a qualified income trust? So this isn't necessary. I think someone was doing some research on their own and they're looking at, well, Medicaid has income limits. Well, nursing home Medicaid does not. So if you're looking at community Medicaid, like low income Medicaid, then yeah, there is an income test. But that's not really what we're talking about here. What we're talking about when we're talking about Medicaid is more of nursing home care, where you're paying $10,000 to $15,000 a month and there's an asset test. There is no income test for nursing home Medicaid. So setting up some type of trust to try to change the direction of income of Social Security or pension, completely unnecessary with nursing home Medicaid, which is more of what we're dealing with versus just having a low income, which would be community Medicaid. So, okay. So that is all the questions that I had. So just 2 questions on a little more information on the Castle Trust. Again, it's not for everyone. What it does is it avoids probate, controls the distribution upon death, which is important, just like any other trust, but it does build in that asset protection. So if you are concerned about long-term care, then a Castle Trust may be one of the tools that we want to explore. All right. Let's see if I have anything else. Nope. All right. Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.